The Serbian First League is the second tier of Serbian football. That's the intro out of the way, here are the stadiums. The official name of this place is Stadion Borac, but Stadion Kraj Morave is what it's most commonly known as. It means stadium near the Morave. The Morave being the river that you see back there. So it's kind of like the Serbian version of Riverside Stadium in Middlesbrough, except it's nothing like it. Rather than being a big covered bowl, it is open to the elements, which does mean that people are going to get rained on, but that's okay. Rain never hurt anybody, except for all those times that it did. I love that there are barely any buildings in the backdrop, just trees and mountains. What a lovely ground to start off with. Stadion Dubočica is the newest stadium in the league, having opened in 2023. These pictures are presumably from 2022. It cost €28 million to build. Well, actually, they have their own currency in Serbia, the dinar. How many dinar did the doner for dinner cost? Dinar. But that works out to around 3.3 billion dinar, which is not all that much. So the design is clean and simple, yet it has all the amenities a reasonable supporter of a second-tier Serbian football club could expect. Not only does this ground host Dubočica, but a couple of other nearby clubs play here when they are competing in UEFA competitions. Just a couple of months ago, it hosted the match between Serbia and Andorra, in front of a packed house. It does make sense to play those sort of games at small grounds like this instead of that big stadium in Belgrade. Speaking of which, Stadion Rajko Mitic, auxiliary field. Yeah, it's a similar story with this team. If they played next door, it'll make them feel like no one showed up to watch. There's not much to say about this one. It has an artificial turf field. Next. Now we head to India. Yes, India. A town that is around 35 kilometers from the capital, Belgrade. Toyo Tires Arena. I guess I had to specify that Toyo makes tires, because otherwise people would think it's a cereal.
Grab yourself a crunchy bowl of Toyos, then play with the toy that you get with every bowl of Toyos.
There is actually a Toyo Tires factory on the outskirts of India. It probably employs half the town. But when the rubber hits the road and, damn it. I was going to make a joke about tires, but I just tread all over the punchline. Get a grip, man. This is a very green stadium, and I don't mean it's eco-friendly. It's just very green. The paint, the seats, even that plant life that grows from the field itself, that's green as well. Quite like it. Stadion Javor is also nicknamed Stadion Kraj Morave, because it too is Kraj Morave. But it is a lot higher up in the hills where the river is much narrower. Rivers are lovely, but I think the best aspect of this stadium is that there's an attached bakery. Call me a fat but I find it nearly impossible to walk past a bakery without buying anything. Thankfully I like running almost as much as I like vanilla slices and donuts. Otherwise I truly would be a fat The bakeries in this part of the world tend to stay open quite late, so you can grab some burek after the match. Although I think that's considered to be more of a breakfast food, but I mean it's meat and pastry. Eat it whenever you like. Don't let societal norms get in the way. Guess what I'm having for dinner tonight?
Grab yourself a crunchy bowl of Toyos, then play with the toy that you get with every bowl of Toyos.
But yeah, this seems to be a nice cozy ground. Stadion FK Mačva. This club was promoted to the top tier in the 2010s, and so there was a lot of demolition and construction work done here during that decade. Prior to that, it was looking a little bit dilapidated. The ground didn't even have floodlights until 2017, which is quite remarkable. I don't know whether you would call this the main stand, given that it's actually the smallest, but it is certainly the most eye-catching stand. The only one with any distinctive architectural features. The rest are boring, but at least they're in good condition. GAT Arena. Whenever I see an initialism, I need to know what it stands for. My first guess was Goat Algebra Turpentine, and I was shocked to find out that I was wrong. The GAT stands for... well, I can't be bothered trying to pronounce them, but one of the words means construction, and they don't even mention goats at all. It's a construction company, and fittingly, a lot of construction has taken place here in recent years as well. When I say a lot, that is relative, because it went from a tiny ground with just one stand to a tiny ground with just one stand that is now slightly better than it was. Efbet Stadion. I've never been a fan of stadiums being named after betting companies, just because, we know that gambling can destroy lives. Like maybe some parents put their gambling habit ahead of their children, like they might even cancel medical procedures so they can place another bet.
I'm sorry to say this, son, but if FK Mačva loses, we won't be able to pay for your circumcision.
Oh no! Whatever will we do? But the club well and truly makes up for that with the murals here on the southern stand. That looks great, as do the mountains in the backdrop. Less than 30 kilometers over in that general direction is Kosovo. And I bet that Serbia and Kosovo aren't going to be playing a match against each other anytime soon. But if they do, maybe they could play here. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Stadion FK Radnički. That's good coffee. Grab yourself a crunchy bowl of Toyos. Love the toy that you get with every time. Toyos. Grab yourself a crunchy bowl of Toyos and play with the toy that you get with every Toyos. A box of Toyos. Stadion Radomir Antić opened just a year after World War II ended. Fittingly, the first match to take place here was against FK Partizan, a club named in honour of those who fought against the Axis occupation. There is a running track, but because the stands hug it so tightly, to make for an intimidating, in-your-face atmosphere for the away team to enjoy. I love the way some of the stands have been shaped by the surrounds. There was clearly little excess room around the field for the stadium to grow into. I wonder if people are allowed to sit up on that hill on game day, or if safety regulations don't allow it. Best to err on the side of caution when it comes to stadiums. We don't want to see an avalanche of spectators leading to a human crush. Onto a stadium that doesn't have to worry about a crowd crush anytime soon. Stadion Sloven. No, the stadium is not named after Slovenia, it's named after the club that plays here, which is not named after Slovenia. Sloven is like an old word that refers to Slavs as a whole. This stand here is actually being rebuilt, with proper seats and a roof added. That's all there is to this stadium, really. Gradski Stadion Smederevo is also known as Stadion Kraj Stare Železare. I know what you're thinking. Stare Železare must be the name of this river here, but actually is named after the old steelworks here. The club was founded 101 years ago by workers at that steelworks. They are nicknamed the Armors to this day. The field was built into the side of a hill, so the biggest stand of all is almost entirely built into the earth. I love the way that looks, and if you sit up in the nosebleeds, you get a view of both the steelworks and the river that it backs onto, which is the Danube, by the way. Stadion Mladost. If I'm not mistaken, and I very rarely am, I believe Mladost means youth, which is fitting because it took just 60 days to build this stadium. And you may be thinking that it was a smaller stadium back when it opened, but no, it had a capacity of over twice what it has now. So the next time someone tells you they can't build you a stadium in under 60 days, ask them, "Are you okay, mate? I was asking you how your weekend was, now you're telling me you can't build me a stadium. What's going on?" It is a fairly simple single-tiered bowl design. I suppose the additional capacity of the original stadium was due to it lacking any proper seats. Stadion Voždovac has been featured on the channel before. The reason I remember it clearly is because it's a unique stadium. Why is that? Well, it was built on top of a shopping centre. An above-ground shopping centre that just happens to have a stadium on the roof. To be clear, it was all built at once. It's not like the club executives were flying over the city one day and thought, "That roof is just asking to have a stadium built on top of it."
You're right, but why are you speaking English?
For benefit of viewers.
What viewers?
You'll see.
But yeah, this is what it looks like inside the shopping centre. You'd be none the wiser. This is what it looks like inside the stadium. There is no dead giveaway that it's on a roof, but there is something odd about the way it looks. I can't quite place my finger on it though. The field is artificial, but I mean, we can't really blame them for that. The construction cost 22 million euro. I believe it was a 2-for-1 offer. Stadion Vršac. The name Vršac means summit. So is this stadium named after a summit? No, it's named after the town, which is also named Vršac. Okay, I'm going to stop saying Vršac now because I'm fairly sure I'm mispronouncing Vršac. The town does sit at the foot of a small mountain range, so that is what the Vršac will be referring to. Damn it, I said it again. I said I wasn't going to say Vršac again. And I did it again. It may be named after a town that is named after a summit, but this is far from being the peak of Serbian stadiums. At least it's not ugly. You know, this seems like a perfectly pleasant place to watch a game on a sunny day. Stadion Zemun is situated on the outskirts of Belgrade. Zemun was actually its own separate town until 1934, so that is why it has its own football club and mafia clan. Ooh, that's a nice and colourful building. I don't know whether it's accurate to say that this ground has a running track around it, but it certainly did at some point. Maybe all the way back when Zemun was its own independent town. Oh wait, no, this stadium's not that old. 1962 it was established. This is like a slightly more advanced version of the previous stadium, come to think of it. I kinda like it. So there you have it. An interesting bunch of stadiums. My favourite is not the one you may expect, because I don't really like shopping. It's going to be the stadium by the old steelworks. I like the history, I like the location, I like the general vibe of the place, I like the pH levels in the soil, I like the humidity in the air. Now it's time for extra time. See, you shouldn't narrate a video whilst hungry, because now I've got to go back to that bakery, the one I mentioned earlier. Do you want anything? Seems like a pretty limited offering. We should have got here earlier. I don't think they have any burek left.
Thanks for watching. Have a good one.